Today we will be discussing about the API management in the integration suite. So let me tell you about what the background about where this API management comes under. So while we're discussing in the beginning classes, we discussed like under the integration suite, there are other we call it as capabilities. So in addition to the CI or CPI or HCI, in addition to cloud integration, we have the other capabilities called the open connectors, API management, and obviously the B2B scenarios as well. So API management is one of the capability in the integration suite. It doesn't come under CPI or CI. It is separate capability under the integration suite. So here, if you just, this is the cockpit. The cockpit page where whatever you're seeing is in the cockpit page. We'll be having this integration suite. So once you click this integration suite, so now you will come directly to this page. You directly come to the integration page. But earlier we used to have this screen. Earlier instance, it's not very long back also, hardly maybe 2 or 3 months back.
Yes.
We used to have different screens. One for cloud, you can see the name also, cloud integration, API management, all these things. We used to have separate screens and a separate UI as well. We didn't have like this.
Mm.
Now you are see right now we are not having like this. So even now, if you get into some, a project which is already working or people are working, you will see only first three icons, like the home, discover, and this one, design, and finally the settings. You will not see the API management, API related tabs here. You'll be having in a separate UI. But what SAP has did in the last maybe in 3 months back, they clubbed all the API management, CI, everything all into one place. So functionality wise, it is remains same, but the front end UI, what the developer sees and how the customers for the customers, they bought everything into one place. Instead of moving like this from tab to tab, they bought everything into one place, and that is why we are seeing here. So earlier, if you click here, we used to have only integration, but we can see the APIs also. So this, just telling about the, where does this API management come under the, in the BTP cockpit? In the BTP cockpit, under the integration suite, we have a separate capability called API management. And for this API management, we need the roles as well. The CIE roles will not work. CI in the sense, the CPI roles will not work. We need to, the developer needs to have the API management roles as well. Just like the open connectors and just like CPI, similarly, for API management also, there is a predefined roles. And when the user is having those roles, then only he will be able to subscribe. Okay. And let us come to what is meant by API. API is nothing but an application programming interface. So in general, it's not like with respect to CPI or SAP. In general, there will be 4 types of APIs. I'm just telling in generic point this one. So it can be public APIs. So where if I call it to definition, a public API is open and available for any developer outside the outside the business. Anybody can subscribe and anybody can use it. Those APIs are called public APIs. And we have second one is called partner APIs. So the partner APIs is available specifically for outside developers or the API consumer. Means for one particular their partners, they will develop the business and means no other API users are permitted. They will control it. So those are called partner APIs. And we have other APIs called internal APIs or private APIs also you can call. Means within the business or within the system, they will raise and they will consume it. Those are called internal APIs. And there is the fourth one is a composite API. Composite API generally combines 2 or more APIs from a sequence of operations. The name itself is a composite, means combining 2 or more APIs called composite APIs. So in general, public, partner, and internal or private, both are same. In short, I can tell public APIs, partner APIs, private APIs, and composite APIs. So this is in generic point of view I'm telling. So when now let us come into the SAP, the API management where we need to see. So before going to here inside the integration suite or inside the API management, we have this. I'll just go from here itself so you can understand. So SAP has already defined this API hub. You just type sap.api.hub, you'll get the first screen. API Business Hub. So this is one place where SAP has made available all the standard APIs available here. So if you go to an S4HANA project, so let us say you go from X project to Y project. So the most commonly used interfaces will be cost center, profit center, WBS element, WBS order. All these things will be most commonly used interfaces. So for those interfaces also, SAP has given the standard APIs. Okay, see later for randomly, I'll just click cost center. You will see a ready-made cost center APIs available. You can see S4 and integration with, sorry, here. For cost center, you'll be seeing S4 and integration with third-party payroll something. Just click on cost center. Any key role you can just select. I mean keyword I'm telling. If there is any standard API, you will get it. And if you remember, I have shown you in the monitoring interface when we discussed. I'll just show you on that one as well. Just go to duplicate. Actually, it's taking time. So API Business Hub is one place where all the standard SAP, I mean, this is within SAP, all the APIs are available. If you want to see any standard API is available for your interface or not, you can just give some keyword and just test it. See if you go here, if I want to search my interface, which I showed you earlier, so just type message and all the APIs related to message with the keyword message, you will be seeing more than almost like 30 or there. So just scroll one by one. The one which I saw shown you earlier, this is the one. Message processing logs. It's an OData API. API reference. And similarly, you can just try out and mean you'll be having the standard message structure, response, everything will be predefined, everything here. So this is called SAP API Business Hub, where all the APIs will be available in one place. You can type any keyword, like let me type WBS element for an example. You'll be having an API ready for that SAP S4HANA Cloud for this one. So it's again, it's up to the S4HANA developer whether he wants to use the standard API or whether he can go with a custom API also. Okay, now, yeah, sorry, Tamil, you are saying something. Are you seeing something or can I continue?
No. Continue.
Yeah. So now let's come to the API management. So API management is the place where we can develop, control, expose all those things, all the operations on API we can do. So earlier we had a different screen, just like I was showing you here. If I click here API management, we just like our cloud integration, we had a separate screen and separate UI. But now they clubbed everything into this place. Whatever we worked till now, they clubbed everything here. So just like that, let's go by tab. Okay. If you see normally in Discover, we are checking the integration still now for checking the standard integration. So similarly, we have the standard API is also made available by SAP. So just like our normal standard integrations, which we see in the Discover tab, there are also standard APIs here also. So where you can just copy and use it. For an example, I'll go to this automation pilot. Okay, this is standard API. See, let me go back 1 minute. Let me go back. So see, as soon as I click here, let me go to this one. In the top right, you see, it will show view in API Business Hub. The one which I shown you just now. If you want to view there, you can go and view there, or means everything is interlinked.
Okay.
If you want to click here, it will open a separate tab. Now it will directly go to the API Business Hub and you will see there. See, obviously you need an S user. Now we are logging with our B user trial account. So now it automatically came to the API Business Hub, which I was just explaining now.
Okay.
So similarly, now see you can go here. Just select for random. I'm selecting anything. Let us say I want this REST API some related to some executions. So just we have this all operations, get, post, get, delete, all those things. If I want to copy it to the design tab, now this is in discover tab. This is a standard API. So just click on copy. I'm not doing anything. I'm just clicking on OK. So here you need to change the URL according to the target system, the landscape, whatever you're giving. They're given the host name, you need to change it. Only the host name. So I'm just clicking on OK. So API copied successfully. This can you see? I'll just tell what is the screen. It has come to the design screen. The executions API, title is executions, status is non-deployed, and the REST API. You can see at 9:16:33 p.m. it is present. I mean, we have just developed this one. Just click on this. Here you can do all the operation. Let us think you want to do a get call. You need to give that particular URL. This is the standard message format which they have already defined. The only thing we need is the target host name and the target credentials. Once it is there, we can just consume the service. So before going to this in detail, so I need to tell you three important topics related to API management. The first thing is API. What is API? We commonly come across three important words: API provider, API proxy, and API product. Even though if you go for survey, some certifications also, people ask more. There will be a little bit more questions on these three things. What is API provider? What is API proxy? And what is API product? Both all the three naming will be similar. I'll tell one by one. So API provider is used to abstract or is used for connecting the backend system, or you can call it as a target system. So the first one which you will be creating is called the API provider, where you connect to the target system. Okay. And the second one is called API proxy. So these are the technical names I'm telling. API proxy this is the actual API which we will be using to connect to the target system or to design our API, where we design all those things is called API proxy. API provider, we give the endpoint details, the target system details. API proxy, we design our APIs, and there can be multiple API proxies for an API provider. So one API provider, multiple proxies can be there, and you combine all the API proxies in a API product. I will show you in detail what is API provider, what is API proxy, and what is API product. I'll show you because we have just got some cloud backend system. We'll just connect to one backend system as far as we can. We will just see. So let me do one by one. Let me go to the design page first, so that I'll tell you. Repeating again, API provider is used to connect to the backend or the target system. API proxy is the actual API which connects the logic to the target system. So here we'll model our flow or security policies, income transforming the incoming messages, all these things we do it in the API proxy level. And finally, the API product, which combines all the API proxies. If there are multiple API proxies, we can combine. If you see here, so all these things, if it's, let us take this is an API, this is an API, API proxy and API proxy, and all these API proxies we can combine under API provider. Let us see in practical thing. How to create API provider, proxy, and this product, all those things. So this we're coming to the actual screen where we used to develop all the CPI things. So this was the place. So from here, we just saw now the discover tab, where we had the APIs and how we went from the APIs to the API business hub, or vice versa. From the discover tab, we copied an API and it came to the design tab. Just a click and it come to the design tab, and we need to change the either the host name or the credentials. So now let's design the second one. Instead of clicking the integration, we'll click on the APIs. So this was done earlier. So now let me delete it few so that you can do it again. No, I do not have the access to delete. Let me undeploy at least. See, the concept is same, just like in CPI how we deploy and deploy, save as version. In API management also we have almost similar things. So now let us what we will do. We'll just create the first step. I said we will create an API provider and we will see step by step. Okay. So now to create an API provider, we just click design. So here, just click on create. So as soon as you click on create, it will ask whether you want to create an API provider or whether you want to create an API proxy. What we need to do. Okay. I think 1 minute. Let me not here. I need to create product. Just a minute. 1 minute. It's going to the place. Yes, sorry. This is the first step. You need to go to configure and here the APIs. Here you need to create. The proxies will be created here. Products will be created here. So here I have already created this one today. So let us create one more product API provider here. So for creating, just click on here, create. It will ask for a meaningful name. You can give anything. I just give API, SAP API. Yeah, okay. Just giving some meaningful name. You can, if you want description, testing the API. And if you go to the connection, it will ask what connection you need to give. So just add some credentials, clicking on host. I bought these things, host name, all those things. I'll show you how to create this account as well. Host name, and I'm giving the port name as well, 443. So here, before going here, I'll just show you one thing. So this is the URL where you can create your free account with SAP UI. Okay, you can just register. I mean, I'll just send this link to Aditi as well. You can register with NetViewer access. You'll get the UI access. You can just for testing this API, you can use it because for testing the provider everything. So in the interest of time, I have already created this account. It hardly takes from 5-10 minutes. Already created this account everything. So those details I have saved it in the notepad. I'm using the same thing. Okay. This is the password and this is the host name. And this is the P user of our SAP training account. And all the other prefixes I have already collected it. Okay. So now let's come back to the API management. Scrolling back. What else we need to do? Catalog service settings. Next. So here, to see, we need to select D, basic authentication, and path prefix. We already have this. Path prefix is nothing but this one. We're just connecting to the system. Whatever the demo system we had, we're just connecting to that particular SAP developer system, and we're just going to see whether the connection is valid or not, and we'll be creating a API provider proxy, and we'll try to create this API package, this one as well. So let's do one by one. API provider, API proxy, and API product. So here the username will be this one. Let me give my password. And service collection euros I need to give. Post giving all these details, you can just directly, I think it should come to save. Did we miss anything? No, right. As soon as you see it, let me see. Yeah, it's saved. And now what we are doing, we're just creating a this one, whatever we created, the basic thing they provided we're creating, and we are given the host details, everything of the target system, the backend system, I mean the system which we're going to connect from here. Everything we have given, SAP ES5 develop center, everything we have given. And now let's test the connection. So now it has hit that particular system. It's 200. This is the system which we connected, and it has hit the system, and we have got 200 OK. Ideally, 200 OK in the sense we got. I mean, it was able to hit that the end system, and we got the message as it has been connection has been established. Okay. So now the simple thing what we have did, we have been able to create an API provider. So it means, as I said, what API provider is do, it will just abstract the connection to the backend system or the target system. We just establish the connection to the other system. So so now it's in for training purpose. We have used in the system which is available. So we have made use of that, and now the connection is successful. Now after this, as I said, the first step will be to create an API provider to the backend system or the target system, which we did just now, and we got the responses 200 OK. Now the second step will be to create an API proxy. So API proxy we need to create. So now, as usual, I'll just create a duplicate tab. I mean, just to make sure what we have already created. So in this step, we created 200 OK or this API provider. Now let's go to API proxy. For API proxy, just going to the same place. So here, these are all the API proxies which were created prior to the training. Okay. And this is one API proxy which we copied from the standard APIs. So these other four, we just, I mean, these are also standard. These are also standard. The REST APIs, we are standard. The other worded API that I created earlier. So now let's create one more API. Click on create. So here, if you see API provider, in the drop down, you will see the list of API providers in your tenant, all the list of APIs, API providers. You can select the one which you want to create I mean, under which you want to create your API proxy. So I'm selecting this one which we created just now. After you create, you can see there is a button called discover. So click on discover. What will happen? See, under this API provider, we are connected to the target system. It will hit that particular target system, and it will show the list of what is this API proxies available in that particular system. So just click on discover. It will give a list of this one options available. So whatever the things we want, we can use. But just for our demo purpose, there is a basic this one which requires less authentication everything. So I'm just selecting the basic GWS sample. For demo purpose, they have created these things. So as soon as you click, it will automatically create the name, host name, everything. So no need to change anything. We can directly click on OK. Or for our understanding, we can create some demo or something. Demo one. So the name is already created. Naming also should be unique. So I'm just creating a create. So now what will happen? An API proxy will be created. If we see the proxy endpoint, the target endpoint, let me see. Let me save and deploy it. We need to see the endpoint URL here. What happened for that? These are all the functionalities for the business. Means under this, they have already kept this business partners everything. So we have just fetched it from the particular target system. So let me deploy it successfully and show you. Let me click on it. Target endpoint was the same only, right? So as soon as we deploy an endpoint, the API proxy URL will be generated. So let me do it from the beginning. All are undeployed only. Let me create the layer one itself. Click on discover. AWS. Let me set the same something called demo 5. Creating an API proxy and proxy endpoint. Target endpoint. Oh god. Okay, this is the issue. An API proxy already exists with the base path. This one is already existed. I'll just go back to the previous one, which I created our before the class. So this one, basic. This one just now created. So click here. This is the place which I want to show you. As soon as you deploy it, you see this API proxy URL where you can directly consume your service. So after target endpoint, I was just deploying the proxy, right? So post your deployment, you will see endpoint, the API proxy URL will be generated. If you want to see the resources, means what are the operations available, means the get call, post call, all these things, you can see one by one. So similarly, like this API proxies, let's deploy 2 or 3. What basic this one, let me deploy it. So why I am deploying, I'll tell you. So this is deployed, and let us deploy the other one as well. But this is standard one, it may not get deployed. Here if you see, there is a column called calls. It will monitor how many calls we have made to that particular API. So this GW demo, I just tested it once. So that is why it is showing call 1. I'll show in the monitoring page. So here, the calls also we will see how many calls were made to that particular API and in and out, both ways. So now if you see, now we have created, deployed two API proxies. Like we have created one API provider and two API proxies. Let us assume these are the first two are the API proxies which we have created. So now our next step is to develop an API product. To create an API product here, the same place, click on product. So we do not have any product here. So we can combine multiple API proxies. So here if you go, just create some dummy name. API underscore test or something. API test the API on add. It will show the list of APIs which have been available. API proxies. APIs I'm telling. API in the sense API proxies available to combine together in an API product. So now we can see there are 5 list of API proxies which has been created in this particular tenant. So if you see in the top, some of the APIs may have saved changes that are not deployed yet. If such APIs are added to the product, they will not get published. Just whatever I've highlighted, you can just focus on this. If any APIs are added to the product, they will not get published. Which means if any changes are being done and if it's not deployed properly, so then it may not get published. Similar concept in CPI also. Even though you do a small change, it should be deployed. So now let's select this demo, whatever the things we did, click on OK. And our next job is to publish. This final step will be to publish. Like we were able to create API provider and API proxies, couple of API proxies and one API provider. And now we are targeting to complete this API product. Okay, as soon as we publish, our job will be done, the API will be published. But here I was facing issues. Let me see now. Because of this access issues, because of this file account, so it was not able to. We need an S user, like the company provided S user, to publish this API. So here we get, this is the final step. So post this step, it will be API will be published. So that particular API we can subscribe.
Mm.
So in short, what I want to tell you is API provider, API proxy, and API. Even I get confused.
Product.
API provider, product. I mean, all names are with P. First is API provider, which you connect to the external target system, giving the host keys, all those, host details, all those things. And then you can create API proxies, whatever the list of things you're there. You can design your structure, everything. All the things you do it in the API proxies. For one API provider, there can be multiple n number of API proxies. And for that, to combine any set of proxies, we use this API product.
Do we need actually the product is it mandatory to create a product?
The product is not mandatory. To publish, you need it. You can publish one also.
We cannot just publish one API directly from the proxy, isn't it?
No, no, no.
We deploy, right? We deploy, but we have to publish.
You have to, if you want to publish, you need to come to the this place,
Okay.
product place.
Uh,
And here, let us think. I'll deploy this one. Let us think. I mean, for publishing, you can execute this one. Let us think. This API have there. Just now I try to execute somewhere.
yeah, I was seeing one call, right? So we see one call is
No, no.
already.
I just executed it.
Okay.
Here, if you see, publishing is different. Let us
Uh-huh.
think. I'll make this one. I'll just maybe now I'm executing it. Try out.
Yeah.
Obviously, it will fail because I have not given anything. I'll get
Uh,
an error.
oh, this also counted as a call, is it?
Yeah. Now, if you want to see the calls, here, our monitoring screen, instead of integrations, come to APIs.
Mhm.
Just like CPI monitoring screen, here you will be having a different tiles. Like total API calls, what is the response time, how many API errors, all these things you'll be seeing here. So earlier, let us trigger one more, you'll see. Let us go back here. APIs, select something, this one, resources, partnership, scroll down, try out, execute. Okay, obviously we'll get an error. The error is 401 unauthorized because we didn't give any credentials to that particular system. It will fail with authentication, authorization error. So as soon as we got this 401, if you go to this screen, now just refresh it. Where is this refresh? Or just click it again. Now we'll see two. We should see two calls. Can you see we saw two calls and two API errors? Everything we'll see. Just like similar to the, this screen is not that updated, but just like the CPI monitoring screen, we can see all the API calls in and out.
Mm.
And apart from the CPI things, for API management, the SAP has given this monetization and rate plan, everything. So you can monetize this one. This here. Wait, this one, monetize. You can see how many, if some consuming your API. So you can see how many calls they're making to your API and they're functioning. And you can control your rate plans, everything. Rate plans, I'm not that aware how to generate the revenue and all. But one thing is clear is you can control your API and you can see how many calls they're making each single day and how much data they're consuming, all those things you can control. You can, in the sense, the API developer can control. If he has created his own API, he can control. If there is any standard API, we can just monitor this here in the monitoring screen. So 2-3 months back, these were different places. CPI was having a different UI and the API manager was a different UI, OpenConnect a different UI. But just 2-3, even though, I'm telling my personal experience, in my current project, they're having only these three tabs, like home, discover, uh, design, and then the settings. This one, the roles has not been, they're not given and it's not there. Still the tool is didn't get updated. The
Okay.
cockpit, they are restricted it, since they don't want to affect their ongoing project. So this one not there. But going forward, or whatever the CI version they are using now, all these things are clubbed into one place. So monitoring everything, it's in place together. Just like how you monitor this one CPI calls, you can monitor the API calls, how many calls you did. One minute. So you can see two calls, response time, everything. You can see it.
Okay.
And I have in this 41 PowerPoint presentation for API management completely published. These are all full. I'll just show you that one. If you want to see in very detailed thing, so you can see from here. The first steps it's like completely very fundamental basic. So what is API provider? Just I was telling. What is API proxies and what is API product? So
Mm.
these three things we created. We created a provider, we created an API proxy, a couple of proxies, and we try to club those proxies, but due to access restrictions, we are not able to publish our API. If we are having an S user, we can publish directly. There is no restriction. And how to analyze the usage of APIs and creating the rate plans. So they are given step by step here. See this screen. Earlier, this is a screen. You can see, right? Oh, sorry.
Mm. Oh yeah.
This was the screen earlier. You see here. So this was the screen. This all front end, this all UI, they clubbed into CPI. So discover whatever they discover. Only we are having only APIs. They are not having other things. But now if you see, if you click on discover, you'll get again second. This pop-up was not there. As soon as you click on discover, we used to get.
What
But
is the
now
type systems here? I'm seeing it is new.
it has come new. Not ours.
Uh,
Let me click on it.
new items coming here and there.
No, no, there we adding this guys. I think this B2B scenarios also.
Oh, B2B
Or
scenarios. Oh,
data or data. IAC, all these things like that. New thing they'll be releasing every single. If you week by week, if you 100% today, you come back after 1 month, you'll see all new things.
crazy.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're doing that. We need to agree. We need to accept it.
One more thing, as you see in the SAP BTP cockpit APC, there are three things like API integration, the API, and there's open connector. But we do use the open connectors in the integration scenarios. Right? So that open connectors is to register in the SID and use it in the integration, or just is a different scenario. I'm just confirming.
Sorry, come again.
So the open connectors we use in the integration scenarios, right?
Yes, we use.
So it is just to register the open connector where we have where we need to subscribe something and some of the connectors we use in the integration and just need to subscription and managing these things that is that
Yes,
need
see,
to be
let us think you want to use a service now. For example, you want to create a service now ticket. So
okay.
you are stuck about the connectivity details or all those things. So and you suddenly found okay, you have a already open connector with service now. You go there, maybe your company is subscribe to open connector service. You give the host name details. You are able to hit at that particular place, and it's done. And then what will happen? That particular open connector, you will use it in the CI. But still here, the open connector, they have not plugged here. But maybe in the future, they will bring the open connectors also here directly.
Okay.
But as of now, API management, the B2B, this CI, everything they have clubbed. But open connectors, you need to go from this cockpit only.
Mm.
But open connectors only when you feel like, okay, let us think you got some I mean, you take it as a Twitter. You take a Twitter, okay? You're not aware, you know about Twitter everything, but you're facing a lot of challenges in connecting to Twitter. So then you can directly use this open connectors and use it. And here design these things I said you. And this PPT, I'll share it with Aditi. You can check with her. Like see, this was the screen earlier. The analyze, monetize, develop, discover. All the six tabs, they just clubbed it into the CPI tabs. All of a sudden, and everything got merged into one place. So APIs, you can see the one which we created. We just created a couple of API proxies, right? They have created multiple API proxies. It can be REST API or data API, and whatever the APIs they created, you can see. I'll just maximize my screen. API providers, they have created 10 API providers, 27 APIs in the sense API proxies. Okay, don't get confused. API proxies, and they have created 12 products. So it can be different. I mean, this is be a previous screen. Now you may not be able to see the view this screen because everything it got clubbed into the CPI one. And you can see here the API proxies, policies, everything. So this is a very big presentation which SAP, I mean, they published as a white paper. So I'll just share it with Aditi. You can just go through once in detail if you, when you have time. So in short, what I can tell, by you creating the API provider, proxy, and product, we can publish an API. So if at all we want any standard API which has been available within the API management, you can go straight away to this one, this place. Discover. Here, now it got updated. Discover APIs. You see the list of APIs, 216. So you can select inside this, and you can either view here and just copy from here directly, or if you are familiar with API Business Hub, you can just navigate to Business Hub. So everything is interlinked. So instead of going to API management thing, for an example, you do not have the access to this one, API management in your project. So API Business Hub will be having. This one you can log in with your S user directly, and you can search it here also. If you want any, but if in any you feel like okay, I got product master, I want to see if anything is related to project creation. Example, most commonly used interface until I can see there are multiple APIs, which is there for project creation. I can check if anything is matching my scenario or not. If it is matching, I can directly check with the S4, I mean, let us in this an S4 project. You can connect to the S4 people and tell there is a standard API, then you consume that. Then he will do his work and he'll just share the post name, all those things, and we can consume directly. One place is we can search in API Business Hub, and the second place is we can search it in the Discover tab in the API Management. So earlier API Management was a different place, all in all there, it's a different place, but now it is in the same place where we do it in the CI also, Cloud Integration. So in short, integration suite combines of open connectors, API management, CPI, and all the B2B scenarios. Everything together is called integration suite. But whereas CPI plays a major role, like 90% will be there in within the CPI functionality. CPI has occupied the 90% space in the integration suite. People say it's API management, people say open connectors, all those things, but the most commonly used or the most commonly used in real time or where the space is consumed is with the CPI itself. So whatever you do with API, you can do with CPI also. Let us think you have consumed, I mean, for example, I'm telling you have gone with an open connector service now and you have did an integration. I can do the same integration with a HTTP adapter also. Even that will be an API endpoint URL. So you do an HTTP endpoint URL, right? Whatever we are triggering from Postman, even that is an API. Let us you go to the Postman and you see an endpoint URL, and whatever the endpoint URL you see, even that will be the standard API. API for that interface. So there is
Um,
no any standard this one to you whether you need to go for open connectors or go for API management or go for CPI. So whatever comfortable you are there, depending on your project architecture, project design, you can move according to that.
okay.
I think your throat is completely gone.
Yes.
But you were safely in Malaysia and you came to India and we got throat.
That's all. I
You'd
think
have
it's
gone with your friends, everything, and you'd have enjoyed it, I guess.
actually I went to one of the place last week. I think maybe the change in what got my throat.
I'm not able to hear also. Yeah, I think completely gone.
Oh, is it? I think the change in water got my throat.
Yeah, have some tablets or something.
Okay. Yeah, actually, the main thing I asked for API management is like when I was seeing the CPI certification in the SAP portals to see the I think the
See, more questions will be on
yeah,
for provider, how many proxies you need to create, what is the
okay.
relation between provider, proxy, and product. All
Uh-huh.
I even in the certification, these things questions will be there.
Yeah.
So, what is the order of creation? Whether
Mm.
product first, proxy first, or provider first, or these things they'll be asking.
So the order is provider, proxy, and product, right?
Yes, provider first, proxy next, and product last.
Okay.
You just saw just now what we created. Provider we just created,
Yes. Mm.
and proxy we created multiple proxies. And those questions also will be there. For one provider, how many proxies can be created? You can for one proxy you cannot create multiple providers, right?
One proxy, no, no, one proxy, not many products. Yeah, but we can also create, right?
See one provider, multiple proxies, but not multiple proxies. The other way it will not work.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Okay.
So these questions will be there.
Hmm.
So what is the relation between provider, what is it proxy, and what is product, and what is the sequence, when to create what, all those things will be there. And if you want to publish, what you need to do, if you want to consume, what you need to do, all those things will be there.
Okay.
Apart from that, again, this is again vast topic. Maybe
Uh,
if you are interested, you can learn on your interest also. Here also you'll be having this OData API, REST API, all those.
yeah, we saw that as well, right?
I mean, there, see, whatever job they'll be keep on adding, keep on giving all these things.
Mm.
See here also you'll be having REST API, SOAP API, OData API, all these things will be. Multiple places will be keeping something else. This is within the CPI. Okay.
Mm.
So again, they will be having a standard structure, all these things. So apart from the API business hub, apart from the API management, so even in the CI screen also, we have the option of creating this OData, REST API, all this SOAP API, all those things. We have this for feasibility. But I haven't tried this all those things. But just telling, we have the options to create here API management, the API business hub. From there, you can consume all those things. We can do it. But anything
Okay.
if it's there here, you can directly take a reference also. This business hub. Just not showing you right. Even though
Mm.
if you will not consume also, we can just give it as a reference. So these
Mm.
are already things. For an example, I was showing. I mean, the best example I'll tell you. This is one. We didn't consume this, but just we took it as a reference. Nothing else. I just shown you the monitoring flow, right? So there,
Mm.
what we did, we just went to the business stuff, just tried like this. If there is
Mm.
anything with message or something, then we found that something, and then we thought, okay, these two things we can consume it, and then we tried it worked out. There are many places to serve, and what I mean, just like how you do your mathematics, there is nothing standard procedure. Whatever the way we come, we can find our solution is feasible. We can go according to that.
Okay.
So you're planning to do this application, right?
Yes, yeah. Actually, I'm getting shortlisting calls for CPI integration suite as well, but it is not going to the next level. Maybe the client is not filtering out. I think I'm
Okay.
facing that bottlenecks. Yeah, that's why I think you said you'll be sharing some of the resumes if you have, right? I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I'll share it. I was
Mm,
planning to share, even I got the with I will share it.
mm,
Because I have my resume, but I need multiple resumes. I need to collect it. I will
mm.
share it.
In the interview point of view, I think they say, do you have implementation in BCC or S4 HANA? So BCC is like on-premise, right? And S4 HANA is the
ECC,
cloud.
ECC,
Oh, sorry, ECC, yes.
ECC is on-premise. S4HANA is cloud.
Okay. We can say like 2 years of implementation as we know, we can explain the things in CPI.
Yes,
Um,
yes, you can tell.
okay.
See,
Yeah,
if
they,
S4HANA, what you say immediately, you can tell I know how to create, how to
uh,
use this word data adapter, all those things. I know the SFTP, you know this word data, what you see, right? You see all
mm,
the tables, inside that fields, all those things you see, and you can tell all those things. And they'll
oh,
become, if you say word data, they'll become convinced.
okay.
Instead of saying HTTP or IDOC or RFC, that was there with ECC days. But if
Mm,
somebody says, okay, S4HANA Cloud, all those things, if you say, okay, I know how to work with word data adapter, and they'll be convinced.
oh, okay. Uh,
Any other things, Samir?
No, I think pretty much we covered everything, and I think if when here and there we get any topics up, I think we can also Google in the SAP portals, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
see, the most used portal will be trusted
Okay.
one. Instead of going for blogs,
Uh,
anything, let us think content modifier,
uh,
SAP, you get a number of blogs, but first see, you'll get these blogs. This will be easy. They'll be
mm,
explaining very clearly, but
mm.
most preferably this one, help.sap.com. If you click here, you'll
Okay,
be
go to
having
the
like,
help.
the theoretical I'm telling.
Mm.
You'll see the other blog.sap, you'll be having practical with screenshots, everything. That will be very nice to read. But this one, it will be little bit boring, but this is trusted from SAP.
Which which one? The previous one which you were saying? Which one? Blog.sap,
Blogs.
right? Ah, yeah, blogs. I think
See,
using.
blogs is normal people, developers, right? It will be
Yeah.
easy. They'll giving
Uh,
with screenshot just like they were peel the banana. Just they'll give it to you and you leave. But this one, that might be some might be wrong, correct, and some might be wrong. But this is the trusted one. You'll be having completely. Only theoretical, no practical,
okay.
nothing. From
Mm.
just like book, they have kept it here. If
Okay.
all of a sudden you forgot, okay, what is, for example, what is
Index.
XML modifier? You forgot.
Yeah.
As soon as you click,
Item
you'll
printing.
come to know.
Mm.
Step by step, you'll know.
Okay.
You were asking the other day, right, about adapters, all the things. You'll
Uh,
understand step by step. Completely, there will be no practical. Everything will be theoretical here. So you forgot what is filter. Just click on filter. You understand. But on a high level, sometimes we'll understand. Sometimes it will be very highly technical. So then,
mm.
obviously, we need to go to this blog.sap and search here and there, and find out the exact blog and just read it. If there is no blog, the only way is we need to experience on our own.
Mm. Okay.
Sometimes for new features, there will be no blocks, nothing. We need to check on our own and we need to finalize and we need to work out.
Hmm. I see. Okay.